All right, let's branch out today, huh? We're going deep on trees. Yeah,
Jeez.
trees. You might think, oh, I know all about trees. But trust me,
Yeah.
there's a lot more to them. We're going to uncover their hidden superpowers.
Okay.
We're going to find out why they're so crucial to the
Cool.
planet and to us.
I mean, we walk right past them all the
Oh,
time
no, right.
without a second thought,
Yeah.
but they're always there, working away.
Okay, so let's just start with the basics. We know trees are like
Okay.
the lungs of the earth, right?
Mhm.
Taking in CO2, giving out oxygen.
Yeah, it's all about photosynthesis. Trees and plants in general,
Right.
they use sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugars, which
Okay.
is their food.
Right.
And the oxygen, that's just a byproduct.
So it's not even like they're breathing like we are.
Right.
It's like they're creating their own food from thin air
Yeah.
with the sun.
It is pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the scale is massive.
Yeah.
One mature tree can produce enough oxygen in a
Oh.
day to support several people.
Wow. Just having trees around is literally helping us breathe.
Exactly. And it's not just the oxygen. They're also
What else?
really good at filtering out bad stuff from the air.
Oh, really?
They're like big sponges. They absorb pollutants
Yeah.
like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, which come from cars, factories,
So they're like cleaning up our mess, kind of.
pretty much.
But is there like a limit? Like, can they only take so much?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And you're right. Different trees can handle different amounts of
Hmm.
pollution. Some are better than others
Oh.
at specific pollutants, like London plane trees.
Hmm.
Those are really good in cities. They absorb a lot of particulate matter from the air.
Oh, wow. So it's like different trees have different specialties.
Exactly.
Some are good for traffic fumes, others are good for other stuff.
Yeah, and that's why urban forestry,
Urban forestry.
yeah, it's such a fascinating area.
Okay.
They study which trees are best in different cities,
Oh, cool.
taking into account all sorts of things, pollution,
Mm.
climate, even the buildings nearby.
So it's not just planting any tree anywhere.
No,
There's a science to it.
totally.
Oh.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Because if we plant trees strategically,
Right.
we can actually use them to
To do what?
mitigate the urban heat island effect.
Okay, now you have to explain that one.
Okay.
That's a sign.
Well, have you ever noticed that cities tend to be hotter
Oh, yeah, for sure.
than like out in the country?
Especially in the summer. It's like all the concrete
Exactly.
and asphalt just baking.
That's the urban heat island effect.
Got it.
Hard surfaces absorb and radiate heat, cities get warmer.
Makes sense.
Trees can actually help with that.
Really? How?
Well, they provide shade, obviously, that cools things down directly,
Yeah.
but they also cool the air
Oh.
through transpiration.
Transpiration. I think I remember
It's
that.
from biology class.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's basically how trees sweat. They release water vapor through tiny pores in their leaves.
Interesting.
And that cools the air. Like when we sweat, it cools our skin.
So trees are like natural air conditioners.
Kinda.
They clean the air, they cool the city, they give us oxygen.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What else can they do?
Oh, there's more, believe me.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about how they protect our soil
Okay.
or the homes they provide for wildlife
Oh.
or even the potential they have for new medicines.
Wait, new medicines? Like trees could help cure diseases?
Yeah, you bet.
Wow.
We know about aspirin, right, from
Mhm.
willow bark,
Yeah.
but there are so many undiscovered possibilities.
Yeah.
And all the chemicals they contain.
Cool.
Like, researchers are studying the bark of the Pacific yew
Mm.
for its anti-cancer properties.
Wow, that's amazing. So every time we learn something new, it just opens up more possibilities. Okay, so trees, good for clean air, good for the planet.
Right.
But what about the soil? Like, aren't their roots good for that?
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Tree roots are like anchors. They
Yeah.
prevent soil erosion. They
Uh-huh.
bind the soil together, keep it from washing away.
So important, especially with all the rain we've been having.
Absolutely. And the wind, too. But isn't there a downside?
Oh, is there?
Like, don't those roots make it hard for other plants to grow?
That's true?
It's a good point. Sometimes they can compete for resources.
Yeah.
But remember, forests are complex, different species.
Right.
Their roots grow at different depths.
Okay.
It creates a network underground,
Mm-hmm.
helps to stabilize the soil,
Oh, wow.
makes a more diverse environment.
That's so cool how nature just works like that.
I know, right?
So it's not just individual trees, it's like the whole forest
Exactly.
being together.
It's a system. And when we talk about soil health,
Yeah.
it's not just about erosion.
Uh-huh.
Tree roots improve soil structure.
Oh,
Oh, allow better water infiltration, aeration.
Oh, they're not just holding it together. They're
Yeah.
making it healthier.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And then when the leaves fall,
Yeah.
they decompose, add organic matter,
Okay.
more nutrients for the soil.
It's incredible. Everything is connected.
It really is.
So trees are cleaning the air, cooling the city,
Uh-huh.
protecting the soil, and maybe even new medicines. It's
Right.
amazing.
And we're just getting started.
Oh,
We
yeah.
haven't even talked about how they help wildlife
Oh,
or the
wow.
water cycle.
Okay, hold on. I'm still processing all of this.
No problem.
Let's go back to the wildlife thing for a second.
Okay.
I know trees give them shelter and food,
Yeah.
but how does that actually work?
Well, think of a forest, like a bustling city,
Oh, okay.
full of life everywhere you look. The canopy, that's shelter for birds, monkeys, squirrels.
Right.
The bark is home to insects, spiders, even bats.
Wow.
And the leaves on the forest floor, they create a habitat for decomposers.
Decomposers, those are like what, fungi and stuff?
Fungi, earthworms, all sorts of things.
Oh,
Every part of the tree supports life.
that's amazing.
And that's why forests are so biodiverse.
Biodiversity, that's a good thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Different trees attract different animals,
Oh, cool.
creates a web of relationships.
So like each tree is its own little world.
You could say that.
Wow. And this
Look,
is all essential, right?
For the health of the whole planet.
Wow, this is all so fascinating. We got to keep going.
Okay.
What else can you tell me? What else do trees do?
Well, we talked about clean air, but they're also really important
Yeah.
for mitigating climate change.
Okay.
Have you heard of carbon sinks?
Yeah, but I'm not really sure what it means.
It's actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
Trees absorb carbon dioxide
Right.
during photosynthesis, and they store it
They store it. Where?
in their wood, leaves, and roots.
So they're like locking it away. That would be going into the atmosphere otherwise.
Yeah, contributing to global warming.
So more trees, less carbon in the atmosphere.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Which is why deforestation is so bad.
It's a huge problem. When we cut down forests,
Yeah.
we're not only releasing the carbon they're storing,
Right.
we're removing the planet's ability to absorb more.
It's like a double whammy.
It is.
But are all forests equal? Like, what about the Amazon?
You're right. Old growth forests like the Amazon,
Yeah.
they're incredibly efficient at storing carbon.
All right.
They've been doing it for centuries. They hold vast amounts.
So protecting those is super important.
Absolutely crucial in the fight against climate change.
Okay, so we need to protect existing forests
Yes.
and plant new ones.
Yes.
But is there anything else we can do to, like, help trees store more carbon?
Well, that's where sustainable forestry practices come.
Sustainable forestry, what's that?
It's a way of managing forests
Okay.
to keep them healthy and productive, so they can absorb and store as much carbon as possible.
Cool.
It involves a bunch of techniques.
Like what?
Selective logging, promoting tree diversity,
Well,
protecting natural regeneration. It's all about balance.
balance.
Ecological, social, and economic needs.
Okay.
Make sure the forests are healthy for generations to come.
So it's not just about planting trees.
No.
It's about managing them responsibly so
Exactly.
they can help the planet and help people.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, how so?
Because these sustainable practices,
Yeah.
they can have all sorts of benefits.
Like
support local communities, economies, preserve biodiversity, and mitigate climate change.
It's amazing how it's all connected.
It is.
We can't just look at trees by themselves.
Right.
It's the whole ecosystem, the people,
Exactly.
health of the planet.
You're getting it.
Wow, this is eye-opening.
It is.
And we're just getting started.
I know, right?
There's so much more to uncover about these incredible trees.
I can't wait to keep going.
Me too. Okay, we're back. Still digging into the world of trees. We've talked about clean air, healthy soil, fighting climate change. But what about us? How do trees affect us?
That's a good point. We haven't really talked about that yet.
Yeah.
The human-tree connection. It goes beyond just the practical stuff. There's a lot of research now
Oh, really?
showing that being around trees can actually make us healthier.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, and happier.
So it's not just the fresh air.
No.
There's something about trees themselves.
Exactly. Studies have shown that being in nature,
Okay.
especially forests, can reduce stress,
Uh-huh.
lower blood pressure, even boost our immune systems.
I definitely feel better after a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
But is there, like, actual science behind that?
There is. One theory is that trees release these chemicals called phytoncides.
Fight what?
Titanoids. They've been shown to help our immune system.
Interesting.
And then there's the idea of biophilia.
Biophilia.
Yeah, it's the idea that humans
Okay.
we're naturally connected to nature.
Okay.
Being in nature is good for us, mentally and physically.
Our brains are like hardwired to feel good around trees.
Basically.
That's so cool.
It is. And it's not just the physical stuff.
Yeah.
Think about how it makes you feel. When you're in a forest, away from the city, the noise,
Yeah.
the sights, the sounds, the smells.
It's peaceful.
It's calming, right?
Mm.
Helps reduce stress and anxiety.
Totally. It's like hitting the pause button.
Exactly. And you don't even need a whole forest.
You don't.
Even having trees in the city can make a difference.
That's really.
People who live in neighborhoods with more trees,
Yeah.
they say they feel less stressed and have a better sense of well-being.
So it's like little pockets of peace, even in the city.
Exactly. That's why urban forestry is so important now.
Urban forestry. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. City planners are realizing
Oh, right.
that trees are important, not just because they look nice, but because they're good for us.
Makes sense.
Good for our health, our well-being.
I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a city with more trees?
Exactly. And it's not just about planting them.
It's not.
We need to create green spaces, places where people can actually enjoy them.
So, like, parks?
Parks, community gardens, tree-lined streets.
That's right.
It all adds up.
Makes the city a better place to be.
A healthier, happier city.
Cool. So trees clean the air, protect the soil, fight climate change. They even make us feel better.
They do.
Is there anything they can't do?
Well, they can't make coffee,
That's true.
but they do provide us with a lot of resources.
Okay, let's talk about that. Starting with the obvious one.
Okay.
Food. We all know about fruit trees.
Right.
But what else is there?
Well, nuts, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Almonds, walnuts, pecans.
Right.
All from trees, all full of nutrients.
What about maple syrup?
That comes from maple trees, of course.
Oh, right. The sap.
And don't forget chocolate.
Wait, chocolate comes from a tree.
It does. Cacao tree.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then there's medicine, like we talked about before.
Oh, right, with aspirin.
Aspirin from willow bark. But there are so many more examples, like the cinchona tree.
Okay.
Its bark contains quinine.
Quinine.
It's been used to treat malaria for centuries.
Wow, that's incredible.
And remember the Pacific yew?
Yeah, the one with anti-cancer properties?
Exactly. It's a source of Taxol.
Oh, right, Taxol. A cancer drug?
Yeah.
Seems like we're just scratching the surface here.
We are. And it's not just about modern medicine either.
It's not.
Indigenous cultures around the world,
Yeah.
they've been using trees for medicine for a long time.
Really?
They have so much knowledge about the healing power of plants.
That's amazing. So we should be learning from them.
Absolutely. Respecting their knowledge, working with them
To explore those possibilities.
in a sustainable way.
Right, of course.
And that's just medicine. Think about all the ways we use wood.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Building, furniture, paper.
Yeah, even fuel.
Okay, but what about the environmental impact?
Right, that's a good point.
Deforestation is a big problem.
It is. But we need to be careful here.
Okay.
There's unsustainable logging, which is bad,
Right.
but there's also sustainable forestry,
Sustainable forest.
which is all about managing forests responsibly.
Okay, so there's a good way and a bad way.
Yeah, pretty much. When wood is harvested sustainably,
Yeah.
it can actually be a renewable resource
Really?
and environmentally friendly.
So it's about replacing the trees we use.
Exactly.
Making sure the forests stay healthy for the future.
Exactly. And there are even newer ways to use wood.
Oh, like what?
More sustainable ways,
Yeah.
like engineered wood products.
What are those?
They're stronger, more durable than regular lumber, and they can be made from fast-growing trees.
So we can have our wood and use it too.
Sort of. It's about finding that balance
Right, the balance.
between our needs and the needs of the planet.
This is all about balance, isn't it?
It really is.
It's incredible. Trees are amazing,
They are.
but we can't just take them for granted.
No,
We
right?
have to be responsible.
Exactly.
They're not just resources, they're partners.
Partners in creating a healthy planet.
I love that. Partners. Wow, this has been amazing.
It has.
I learned so much.
Me too.
But, before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said earlier.
Okay.
The human-tree connection.
Right.
You talk about the health benefits,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the emotional connection?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, really,
Mm.
but I think there's something about trees,
Yeah.
their majesty, their longevity.
Mm-hmm.
It inspires us.
Mm-hmm.
awe and wonder.
Yeah, I get that.
They represent resilience, strength, connection to
Connection.
something bigger than ourselves.
I feel that when I'm in a forest,
Yeah.
especially an old forest with those huge trees.
It's powerful.
Yeah, you feel small, but also part of something bigger.
Exactly. And people have felt that for a long time,
Really?
throughout history. Trees are important in mythology, religion, art, across cultures.
Interesting.
Symbols of life, death, wisdom, spiritual growth.
It's like they reflect our own lives back at us,
Yeah, in a way.
reminding us that we're part of nature.
And that we're not here forever.
That's a bit humbling, isn't it?
It is.
Makes you want to protect them even more.
I know, right?
Wow, this has been such a great conversation.
It has.
I have a whole new perspective on trees now.
Me too. I hope our listener does too.
I'm sure they do. But before we go,
Okay.
I want to leave them with something to think about.
Okay.
Knowing all this, how should we change our relationship with trees?
That's a good question.
They're not just objects in the background.
Right.
They're incredible beings. Complex, essential.
I like that.
Essential.
We should treat them that way.
We should. That's something for everyone to think about. Yeah. How can we create a better future for us and for the trees?
That's the key.
We're back one last time for our deep dive on trees. We've covered so much.
We have.
Clean air, water, soil, wildlife, even our own well-being.
It's amazing how much they do.
It really is. But I think we need to talk about the big one.
Okay.
The thing everyone's talking about.
Okay.
Climate change.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can't ignore that.
Definitely not. And trees play a big role there.
They do. We talked about carbon sinks before.
Right. They absorb and store carbon dioxide.
Exactly. But there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, is there? Like what?
Well, for one thing, not all trees are created equal
Oh.
when it comes to carbon storage.
You mean some are better than others?
Exactly. It depends on the type of tree,
Okay.
its age, its health, the whole ecosystem.
See, it's complicated.
It is. But generally, bigger, older trees store more carbon.
That makes sense. They've had more time to grow.
Exactly. Think about those old growth forests.
Yeah, the ones that have been around forever.
They're like giant carbon vaults.
Wow.
They've been absorbing carbon for centuries.
So protecting them is super important.
Absolutely critical if we want to fight climate change.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about planting new trees?
That's important too.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
But we need to be smart about it.
Smart. How so?
Just planting trees isn't enough. We need to think about what kind of trees we plant, where we plant them,
Right.
and how we manage those new forests.
So it's not just a numbers game.
No, it's about creating healthy, sustainable forests.
That can actually absorb carbon in the long term.
Exactly. There's a whole science to it.
Wow, I had no idea.
For example, planting a mix of different species.
Different species.
Yeah, that can actually be better for carbon storage.
Really? Why is that?
Well, a diverse forest is more resilient.
Resilient.
Yeah,
I-
less vulnerable to pests, diseases,
Okay.
even climate change itself,
This is more likely to survive.
and keep absorbing carbon for years to come.
So it all comes back to biodiversity.
It does. Diversity is key.
It's like a theme in this whole conversation.
It is. It's all about the interconnectedness of nature.
Right. We can't just focus on one thing.
Exactly. We need to see the bigger picture
A whole system.
and understand how everything fits together.
Wow, this is a lot to take in.
It is, but it's important stuff.
It really is. We've learned so much about trees,
We have.
from the tiniest leaf to the global climate.
It's amazing how much they impact our lives.
It really is.
Yeah,
They're essential to life as we know it.
I couldn't agree more.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing our listeners should take away?
I think it's simple, really.
Okay, I'm listening.
Appreciate trees for everything they do.
Appreciate trees. I like that.
The more we understand them, the more we'll value them.
And the more we'll want to protect them.
Exactly.
Hey, plant a tree.
Yeah.
Support a local forest.
Or just spend some time in nature.
Enjoying the beauty of trees.
It all makes a difference.
Every little bit helps.
We can create a better future.
For trees and for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for our deep dive on trees.
Sad to see it end.
I know, but what a journey it's been.
It has.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring.
And hug a tree.